Germany, we hear from the referees. This is what Stegemann had to say after the game. In retrospect, I have to say that I would have been happy to award a penalty if I'd watched it again. Oh, it's great, Archie. Just blame VAR. Whoever's in the VAR, he should have told me.
So, Sascha Stegemann says that. He also said as well that he thought that the protests from Dortmund were moderate. And in the stadium, it did not feel moderate for that penalty. I just don't get how he can't have the self-doubt within himself to be like, I should go and check this. It was an unbelievable decision. And I do sympathise with him. He also said as part of that interview that he's had one of those days where he's staring at the ceiling, wondering how that could have happened.
Oh,
but
it's like an Ali Moreno post-match.
Yeah, right. It's tough, but it's particularly tough on Borussia Dortmund. Sebastian Kehl, the sporting director, saying that he wonders if the same thing would have happened with Bayern. Dortmund played better in this game than in other games where they've dropped points. I sympathise a little bit with whether this is just maybe the natural ceiling of this team. They've been propelled into this position of, you must be the ones to take down Bayern Munich. But Bayern still have considerable amount of resources more than Dortmund. And to be honest, Dortmund have come from 9 points behind Bayern. If you told me this was going to happen in November, Dan, I didn't think that Dortmund were going to make the Champions League places in January. Such was the state they were in. So, expecting them to win every game is something that you would expect of a title team, maybe. But I think we need to take those expectations down a little bit, because it's also the beauty of your title race, pal. I heard you groaning at the start there of, Dortmund didn't. You don't want the team to be winning every week. You've been watching too much Premier League, son.
Did you just call me son? But obviously, because of what's happened in the last 10 years, you want a new face lifting the title. I think that's where that comes from. And if you want somebody different to win. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich are in action tomorrow against Hertha Berlin. Here we go again. Ready?
Yeah.
It's good that Lewandowski has left, because we've seen Thomas Tuchel breaking a pole. Archie, he broke a pole in training. He's frustrated. There it is.
You're still there, right?
Yeah.
So, look, that was because a shooting drill wasn't going particularly well, which is not surprising if anyone's watched Bayern recently and seen the amount of goals that their attackers have scored. Look, Hertha are not only the worst away team in the Bundesliga, they are the worst team in the Bundesliga right now. And it is the ideal time to face them. Next week, Bayern get to play the worst home team in the Bundesliga, in Werder Bremen. They are going to be without Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, their best striker that they have at the club right now. But what's concerning is just how many players are out of form there right now. You go through that team and you are struggling to find anyone who has a bit of form. Even Jamal Musiala, who was spearheading their way through the Bundesliga in the first half of the season, since the World Cup, he's basically vanished. And I think the World Cup is an interesting factor within all of this, because without that coming along, I don't think we see the title race that we have seen in the Bundesliga this season. Thomas Tuchel is under pressure. I think even for the fact that they made such a move for him, as I've learned from watching the decisions that Chelsea have made this season, one erratic decision can lead to another erratic decision. And the choice that they made to kick out Julian Nagelsmann, who is the biggest winner out of this whole end of the season at Bayern, I would say. I don't think that Thomas Tuchel has looked great so far. He's not to blame for the mess, but he was brought in to clear it up. And if Bayern are trophyless at the end of the season, then who's to say that Bayern won't do something to surprise us all again?
Getting Frank Lampard.
Well, that would be a surprise.
That would sort it out.
It would surprise Frank Lampard himself.
Archie, are you going to the game tomorrow?
Of course I am. I've got a train in about 6 hours.
Oh, that's a bit snarky, bit tired. A bit like my kids.
He's been a little moody today, Archie. A little moody.
Now, will you be wearing the same jacket as yesterday on display? Goodness me, look at that.
No, you've got to change things up. You've got to change things up. Rotation policy's in order.
It looks a bit like the start of what was that show? Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
It's the Saved by the Bell
Very much so.
Yeah.
Zach Morris.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Apparently that's all. That's all for you, Archie. You get to go to bed now.
Oh.
Get some rest.
Thanks, mate.
There we go. Very nice. Lovely.
It's like an angry little toddler.
Did you say goodnight to your dad?
No, don't call me mate now after that rhetoric. Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.